Well, good afternoon, everybody. How we doing today? What is happening? Got me a nice cold beverage here. Glad to have you here today. For those that may be wondering, my name is Paul Turner from thediscipleproject.net, and I am back after a little hiatus here. I've been off for about, I would say about a little over a month, maybe a month and a half. And so to welcome me back, I'd like to go ahead and offer some applause. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And, well, one more time, just because, I deserve it, okay? A little bit more applause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate all the applause. But but anyway, I've been off for about. I'm glad to be back. I'm not going to bore you with all the details. I took some time off from YouTube just because. I will cover that in another video, where I will be talking about what I learned during my time off, why I took time off. It's nothing serious. It was simply me needing to take a break. And so I am back today doing office hours, which is all about answering youth ministry questions. And if you have questions about youth ministry, I would like to help you answer them. So if you have a question, excuse me, about youth ministry, go ahead and put it in the chat area. If you're watching this later, go ahead and leave it down in the comments, and I will save it for next week. So this is what I'm going to do. I do it every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And another reason that I did this was so that I could be able to reach my friends over in other countries. That's right, because I have friends over. I have some youth ministry friends over in the UK, and I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and do this for them because, listen, I was doing it at 11 o'clock, but that wasn't working out for them. So I said, well, I'm going to do it to where maybe it's a little bit in the nighttime and they can have some time to do this. So I welcome in all the UK folks, UK youth workers that are out there, and those of you in Europe. So, but that's it. So let's go ahead and jump into today's question. Like I said, if you have questions that you'd like me to answer, like I said, go ahead and put them in the chat area, and we'll get started, and hopefully I'll be able to answer your questions as we go along. Okay? All right, question number one is, let me go ahead and roll that up here. Question number one here is, my question is, does your church allow for you to have time off after big events? My church believes that youth ministry and ministry in general goes all the time, so there is really no time off to be had because you have to stay busy all the time. Now, my answer to that is, first of all, that I can speak from my church. Yes, I'm allowed time off after big events because I ask for time off or I request time off, but I'm also part-time. So being part-time allows me and affords me that. If I was in what I would call a meat grinder church, which a meat grinder church is what a church that believes that ministry, that there is no time for rest because ministry has to go on, 365, 24/7, and you have to be the sole person that has to do that. Then I would not, especially currently at kind of the age I'm at now and the place where I'm at in life, I wouldn't sign up for a church like that. I just wouldn't. I've been in churches like that, and I'm not a fan of it. So I would ask this, I don't, like I said, I'm allowed to get that time off because I'm in that special place in life where I'm part-time, and this is really kind of my other part-time job is helping you folks with your questions. But there are better questions to ask. It's unfortunate that the question has to be asked is, do I get time off, or does your church get time off after big events? Because you have to come right back from camp or right back from the mission trip or right back from a retreat or right back, and there's no downtime for you. And I think that is a recipe for burnout. That is a recipe for, listen, it's unsustainable, first of all. You eventually are going to, what do I want to say? You're going to regret, but you're going to eventually find, let's put it this way, not having that time off is going to be what I would call a foothold for the devil, what the Bible calls a foothold for the devil. Because eventually bitterness will creep in because you're gonna be resentful. That's the word I'm looking for. You eventually become resentful that you don't have the time off. And I know we use I'll say excuse that, well, this work is for the Lord. Okay. Hey, Dennis, good to see you. Yes, that's I just noticed the word there. You gave me the word. Thank you. Is that you eventually, it's going to creep in because I know the excuse we use is that, well, this is for the Lord, so I don't need any downtime. I don't need any rest. Once again, that is the words of a young man or woman who may be saying that. When you get older, just ask Dennis. Dennis and I are probably in the same age range anyway, but that as you get older, you discover something, and that is called respect for oneself. And you say, you know what? I don't feel like, you eventually go and say, it's not that the Lord, that serving the Lord is less valuable or less, energetic or less required or any of those things. We just figure out how as you get older, you start to find that place where you go, you know what? Rest is important. Rest is important. And you may not need as much of it when you're young, but you do need it as you get older. And so I would say you just need to go ahead and start establishing some boundaries. Okay? Establishing some boundaries for yourself, because you can go 24/7 and that only lasts so long. Okay? And I would say this, let me throw this in as well, that Jesus found ways on purpose to get away from the crowds, to get away from ministry. He still ministered. He ministered to his 12, but he didn't always, he found ways to get away from the crowd. He found ways to get alone by himself. He found ways to get alone with just the 12. And so if we're going to model something, let's model it after what Jesus did. Find ways to get away from the crowds, and ask your church to help you get away from the crowds. Your church should be trying to help you get away from the crowd, to find Sabbath, to find rest. That if the model of ministry is 24/7, that it's just simply a recipe for burnout. So please, if your church is on that 24/7, 365 grind, let me encourage you, no matter what age you are, start establishing boundaries in your life. If the church won't help put those in for you, which I think the church should help put those in place for you, you need to go ahead and put them in for yourself, so that resentment doesn't creep in, so that your health, your spiritual health is maintained, your family time is maintained, and all of those things are kept in check, so that you could do ministry long term. You can do ministry for a long time, rather than having to get out of ministry and rest for 2 years or 3 years just to get your will back to go back into that. But unfortunately, what happens is we go back into meat grinder churches. So I'm going to say, stay out of the meat grinders, folks. Stay out of the meat grinder churches, okay? Because it's just not healthy. It's not what Jesus did. And so respect yourself enough to set up some boundaries, okay? All right, going to go into question number 2. Before we do that, though, I want to talk about my newsletter. Okay, I have a newsletter. For those that don't know, if you're not aware, I send out a weekly newsletter called the Youth Ministry Roundup, and I want to give you a little view of that because you're missing out if you're not a part of it. And let me go ahead and show you here. I'll give you a little preview here. As you can see here now, it says at the top here, I want to show you protected. Okay, it's protected. Why do I protect these? Well, I protect them because I want you to have exclusive information. It's not for everybody. It's behind. In fact, I don't release anything. I go until I reach about 100 episodes. I have 100 that are free on the website somewhere. That's old, still could be relative, but here you have this. This. So my goodness. Here we go. Here you have relevant information coming into your inbox every week. And you can see, here's some of the articles here. Trends in culture. Youth leaders, let's see, let me go back down here just a little bit. It says, they lost their kids to Fortnite. Social media has made teen friendships more stressful, the decline of American playtime. That is a great article, by the way. I read that one, and I read them all, but I read this one, and I said, well, that's a really good one. 11 Gen Z staples you need to know. But yeah, then I have articles just for youth ministry, just programming and those type of things. And then I have articles just for you, just for the youth pastor, right? So things like 10 things that will get you fired from youth ministry. Is it okay to let AI write your sermon? I wrote that article. The spiritual discipline of restraint. And that'll give you stuff just for fun, right? Why do songs get stuck in your head, right? I don't know. I have things that get stuck in my head all the time, like the Survivor theme, or usually reality theme shows for some reason. And then stuff that's inspirational. Then I have jobs. I put some jobs in there that you may be interested in if you're looking, if you're searching. Then I have about 5 videos that I give you. Some of them are mine, and some of them are from other ministries that help you out. There's a couple of playlists that I have. How to pitch your youth ministry to senior leadership. Then you have this little simple thing here, Servant Spotlight. I don't like to show everything that's just new and latest or whatever. Tools that are going to help you do good youth ministry and build successful youth ministry. And one of those, building a servant spotlight. Something easy you can do for your ministry is highlight your servants. Your servants, your staff, people that help you. Okay, and then last but not least, I put in there some youth resources and services, and you can get all that. And so, yeah, that is the newsletter. If you were interested in that, I will put a link down below. You can always just go to thediscipleproject.net. You can sign up there. But if you wait until the end of the next question, I'm going to give you another link that's going to help you get something brand new that I put out. Okay? If you have questions, by the way, for me, and you want to ask these questions, well, go ahead and leave them in the chat or down in the comments below, okay? And I will get to them. I have 2 more questions, but let's go ahead and move on. Question number 2. Question number 2 is, should we offer incentives, prizes, and so forth for games and stuff to get kids to come to our youth meetings, okay? Now, I zero judgment on this, okay? Because I have given away prizes. I have gone the extremes, okay? I have been the guy that in the early days I was much more rigid. I'll be honest with you. I was much more rigid. I said, you know what? I'm not giving out any prizes. You should want to come to youth group because you love Jesus, not because I'm giving out prizes. Now, that's a young man talking. That is a young man talking. Very stern, on the verge of Pharisee, maybe Pharisaical, who was very much trained about discipleship, particularly motivations, things like that. And so I would not give as much. I was very stingy, to be honest with you. And then I've had times when, yes, every week I'm giving out prizes, doing a thing, because then you get into that little niche of things that you're doing. And so I don't judge anybody for doing that, but the old adage remains, I believe, that whatever you use to draw them is what you have to keep doing to keep them, okay? Whatever you use to draw them is what you have to keep doing to keep them. And so in keeping that in mind, there's nothing wrong with small things. If you're giving away PlayStations every week, that could be a problem. Budgets usually can't sustain that. If you're giving away PlayStations every week or game systems or, Switches or whatever you're giving away, listen, God bless you. You're doing a great job. But I think what happens is the motivations. I understand we want to keep kids coming. We want them to keep coming. I think what is more valuable, I think the prize, listen to this, I think the prize is relationship. The prize, you can give away whatever you want. Food is a great thing to give away. Food cards, right? Food, just like a gift card to Subway, or my kids love Subway. I'd find whatever the local restaurant is near you that kids love to go to after youth group, before youth group, during youth group, and get cards from that place and give that away. Simple things. $10 buys them a meal. But I think the real prize of youth group and inviting kids to come is the relationships you form. And so when you're doing good youth ministry, I think you are building relationships, because the hope is that kids will come for whatever it is you're doing, find out that wow, there's students here who I maybe know or don't know, or maybe I need community. That you hope that whatever prize you're giving away that night leads to the fact that either they're going to find Jesus, right? Or they're going to have a connection within your youth ministry. And a prize can do that. A prize, if you're doing that, but if you're not doing the work on the other side, okay? If all you're offering is a prize, I would say you're only doing half the work. The other half of the work is that you are on purpose and intentionally doing your best to have some sort of relational time, and not leaving it to random that they're going to meet somebody, but you're on purpose creating a dynamic within your youth ministry to build relationships, and with one another, with other students, but also with yourself, that you're going to go ahead and go out of your way a little bit to get to know some of these new people that you've invited in. It can't just be, hey, here's a prize, and why didn't you come back? Well, they didn't come back because you only did half the homework. The other half of the homework is, on purpose, building intentional relationships among the students so they can be known, right, and heard. And the other part is that you are building a relationship with those new students. Yes, you're going to have to spend a little extra time and be relational with them, but that's the deal. That's really the big prize. That's the prize out of it. You can give away whatever you want, but ultimately the prize is the relationships that are found there. So I would say you could do it, but I would do it in short bursts. So I would say, look, if you're going to do it for a month, schedule it out. Be super intentional. Hey, 4 weeks, we're giving out prizes these 4 weeks. And then you're going to have to do the homework to figure out, okay, I know they're going to come for the prize, but how am I going to do the other half of the homework? How am I going to knit hearts together? How am I going to do this? Am I going to make sure that I'm going to preach the gospel every week so that these new students will find the Lord? Because if the goal isn't for them to find the Lord, listen, just having a relationship, just having a relationship with other students is not enough. In a sense, it's for them, it's not enough motivation in that regard to say, look, I want students to find the Lord. So if I'm going to give away prizes 4 weeks in a row, I'm going to make sure that I preach the gospel 4 weeks in a row, so that over those 4 weeks, I'm going to give out my biggest prize at the end of the month, right? Maybe it's a slow build up. I'm going to make sure that I give out the biggest prize at the end of the month, and I'm going to make sure that I preach the gospel all the way through and give those students who may leave you, who may say after 4 weeks they're gone. Well, for these 4 weeks, though, you're going to make sure that you say, look, I'm building in the intentionality that they're going to hear the gospel, hopefully receive the gospel, but you're also intentionally following up with them. You're also finding ways for relationships to be built in small groups and small group time, not just hype. And you're also you are building a relationship with them by following up with them after these meetings to say, hey, thanks for coming. That's why getting information or their phone number and shooting them a text to say, hey, thanks for coming, right? Be here next week when we're giving away this. And then I would go into a season of no prizes. Say, look, we did 4 weeks, but make sure your youth group kids understand this as well. You're not doing this you're planning with your youth group to say, look, we're doing this for 4 weeks, but just understand after the big outreach, after those 4 weeks, we're going into a season of small groups, or we're going into a season of deeper teaching, or we're going into whatever, that everybody's on board. Everybody's a part of the plan, right? It's super intentional the way you're planning it. And then you're also saying, look, maybe you do it once a quarter. Maybe you don't want to do it 4 weeks in a row, but that's a 4-week plan for you. You're welcome. You could also do it quarterly and say, hey, we're having one big event. It's the biggest event this quarter. Every 3 months, we're doing this one big thing. We're giving away a ton of prizes. We're going to give away $100 worth of prizes or whatever we're doing. And then say, okay, but make sure the gospel is preached. And that's a great opportunity for them, right? So I would say, look, those are two. If you're looking for something else, by the way, it has over 100 outreach ideas. A book called The Disciple Project, and it's an outreach manual of discipleship making and outreach ideas. So if you're interested in that, I will put links down in the show notes below. But yeah, I would say that listen, you can give out prizes. I would be very intentional about how you do it. I would be very like I said, very intentional, very planning it out with your adult volunteers, with your students, so that they understand how this process is going to work and what your goals are behind it. Don't do it in secret. Don't go into your private lab where you're cooking up ideas of how to get more students to come. Because the goal is, one, students know Jesus. Two, they become lifelong followers of Jesus, I hope. And that's only going to happen with intentionality, right? So those are my ideas for as far as prizes go. Yes, give them out. Yes, do them for a limited time. And yes, be intentional as to what you're going to do with that momentum you get, and then moving into other things. All right, so let's go ahead real quick before we go into question 3. It's our final question. I do want to let you know, say, why do I want to sign up for the newsletter? Hopefully you've already done it. Hopefully I'm going to start getting just bings and pings and pops of all of you that are signing up right now. But I'll show you this. This little symbol, are you guys familiar with this? These symbols here? That's right. Plus, minus, division, right? Multiplication. Those there are a series I've just done called Do the Math. Do the Math. And it's a 4-week series. It's just in time for school. Because why? Because math. I don't like math. I'm not a fan of math. I'm not a math guy. I can do math, simple math, basic math. I can count money, which is great. I don't understand algebra or geometry. Leave me some comments down below. Are you a math person? Or leave me a comment. Are you a math person? Dennis, if you're still here, are you a math person? Because I'm not a math person. Put me with a bunch of figures and all that stuff. Now, I like stats. I like data. But I don't like math. I don't like working out problems. I don't like formulas in that regard. So, but anyway, this kind of math I do like. I like this kind of math. Why? Because this is a basic Christian living series. Okay. Plus is about the things you should add. You should add to your life as a believer. What should you add? What should be added to your life? Okay. The second week is what should you subtract from your life? What are some things that don't need to be a part of your life? What things should you be getting rid of? Okay. The third week is division, and division in the good sense of division is that knowing how to make those choices, how to know how to draw the line, so to speak. Okay. So you want to be able to go ahead and draw the line of division, knowing that that God from the very beginning divided, right? He divided the light from the dark, the morning from the evening, the land from the sea. And so that division is an important concept theologically for a believer, because there is that division point where we're not to be. Don't be of the world, right? Renew your mind. Don't be of the world, right? But be sanctified unto God. So there's a separation. There is a division there that believers need to know, because some people think they can just go in to faith and just bring everything with them that they were doing before. Division is an important concept. And then the last week is multiplication. And multiplication is go and make disciples, multiplying yourself. And listen, I want to give you this free lesson right here, okay? It's a free lesson. It's the first week. It comes with the lessons and slides. It comes with the game activity. All my stuff comes with, but those games and activities have a point to them. You have closing ideas that I offer, and you get some social media graphics that I do for you. So it's a little promo that you can put out there, and a little follow-up with a scripture that I give you. And so if you say, look, Paul, if you're looking for a reason to sign up for the newsletter, here it is right here. And I will put a link down in the notes below if you are interested in that. I hope you are, because it's a great series. Like I said, great for back to school. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into our third and last question. The third and last question is a good question. I've saved the best for last, everybody. The question is, what are some ideas or things your church does that supports you? Okay. This question was asking because I think the church was asking them, what are some ways that we can support you? It's a great question. First of all, a church that is asking that, hold on. Applause to that church. Congrats to that church for asking such a brave and bold question. What can the church do to support you? And I have some suggestions. Aren't you glad? So if you're in a position where you are you are in a position to say, hey, I can offer the suggestions. I can offer the things that you're looking for. What do you need, right? What do you need? So things you could ask for. You probably have a long list. And these are things that directly affect you. This is not necessarily things that they're not as much benefit to the youth ministry as they are to you. So I'm offering you some tips of things you should ask for. If your church ever says, what can we do to support you? Here they are. Number one, continuing education budget. Things like to take a class, to go to a conference, to get coaching. Put in some continuing education money into your budget, right? That's above it doesn't come out of your salary. It doesn't come out of those things. It is for you to get continuing education so that you can stay on board, stay on top of things. Like I said, whether it's any of the things I mentioned or you come up with your own idea. But as for continuing budget. Number two, health insurance if you don't have it. There's some churches that don't offer health insurance. They're too small or whatever it is. But ask for health insurance. If you're not having health insurance, get some health insurance. Number three, this goes back to the first question. Ask for time off or bonus pay after big events. I've had some people in my church at various times after I've done camp. Somebody will just walk up and give me money and say, or the church has said, hey, thanks for doing that week. And I'm part-time. Here's some extra money. Here's some bonus money. So you know what? So if you say, how can the church support you? Well, go ahead and ask for time off. Say, I need more time off. I need I would like a couple of days of rest that I take off that don't count against me or don't count against my hours. Okay. Or like I said, or bonus pay. There's nothing wrong with that either. And say, if you're part-time, especially. If you're full-time, it's a different story. If you're part-time, it's okay to say, hey, I'm not going to set the amount, but if I'm going to take off my job, my regular job, to come do camp, whatever you guys can do to help me do that, help me do that, okay? All right, you set the amount, whatever you think's fair. And if they give you a check that's not fair the first time, say, let's revisit that, okay? Number five, sabbatical time based on years served. Ask for a sabbatical. Ask for time to say, look, I'm taking a week off beyond vacation time, which, by the way, if you don't have vacation time, if you're one of those meat grinder churches where you can't take any time off because things are so important, we can't live life without you. First of all, get out of that church. Number two, get out of there. But ask for some sabbatical time. Ask for an extra week. And that you spend that sabbatical time however you want. Spend it going on retreat, personal retreat. Spend it going to a conference. Spend it at home doing nothing, which is okay too. Okay. So yeah, do that. Sabbatical time. 6, gas allowance mileage. If you're far away from the church, if you're driving, if they say, look, the church said, how can we support you better? Well, how about some gas allowance? That would be helpful, especially when gas prices are high. They're saying, hey, here, we want to help you. Or maybe they give you a gas card, once a month. Say, look, here's an extra $100 in gas money you can use. And then while you're there, pick up some of that Hunt's Brothers pizza. You know what I'm talking about, right? You ever eat Hunt's Brothers pizza? They have breakfast pizza. Breakfast pizza. That's right. So if you go to go to a gas station near you and get yourself some Hunt's Brothers pizza. Excuse me, I need a drink here. So yeah, you get to get gas and snacks. So yeah, ask for gas allowance, mileage. Number 7, vacation time. That just should be standard. And the last thing is budget for interns. Budget for interns. That's right. How can we support the youth ministry better? Well, I'd like a small budget to get some interns to help me in certain areas. This is especially if you're full-time. If you're full-time and you're wanting to expand and grow, then go ahead and say, help me out here for a season, for 3 months. Let me have an intern where I pay them $100 a week or $200 a week for a limited amount of time to do something very specific, whether that's doing visitation and visiting kids, whether that's doing some sort of school outreach, whether that's running an after-school program. Give me some budget money that makes my life a little bit easier. Okay, that's the key. Um, I got friends texting me this. It says this looks like dark beer. No, sir. It's go-go juice. It's not wine. It's a like an energy drink, but with water. So there's that. Dan, calling you out, Dan. But yeah, so those are the things that I think are critical. That if a church is going to support you, those are some ideas. That if a church cares about what your life is like as a minister, they want to keep you healthy. They want to keep you moving forward. They want to keep you a part of the youth ministry. They want to keep you a part of the church. Then those are 8 things that you should be asking for, maybe, that are going to help you, right, last a little bit longer in youth ministry. And I think that's what the church should be doing. The church should be helping youth pastors stay longer, not figuring out ways to burn you out and tear you up and use you up and then throw you away, or use you up to the point where you can't function anymore and you have to quit. It's just crazy what we do. It's crazy. And that's not just youth pastors. That's children's pastors. That's associate pastors. That's all, utility staff. I just think that's crazy. Why do we do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. So yes, it's okay to ask for things for yourself. The work of God will go forward. The minister will stay healthy, and we spread the wealth around a little bit. Okay? It's really that simple. All right. Any other questions from you nice folks? I want to share with you one last thing, and I'm going to give you a moment to go ahead and leave me some comments. And by the way, if you're watching this later, if you have questions for next week, go ahead and leave that down below. Leave those questions down below or in chat. I will see them. So the last thing I want to show you here is this, that if you are interested in coaching, okay? Coaching changes everything. If you are interested in getting your questions answered on a regular basis from me to you based on 30 years of experience, this is your time. The fall is coming up. Life is getting busy. And all I can encourage you is this. I make coaching available. Now, I offer 2 different types of coaching. The first one is deep dive individual coaching. Me and you, one-on-one, and it's worth everything, right? You ask yourself, well, is coaching worth it? Well, let me ask you something. What will happen if you don't get coaching? Where will you be in 3 months or 6 months or a year if you don't get coaching? If you don't have somebody walking beside you, if you are alone in ministry, trying to do this thing by yourself, why not get a coach and say, look, I get some help along the journey. I'll help you. I'll help you build skills. I'll help you with outreach ideas. I'll help you build a successful youth ministry. I'll help you grow your ministry if I can. I'll help you stay in ministry longer by staying healthier so that you have somebody to come and talk to on a once a month basis, a couple of times a month, and saying, hey, we'd meet twice a month. We'd get on Zoom or whatever and say, okay, we're going to talk these things out. We're going to go over your calendar. We're going to plan. You have somebody like me in your corner. You're basically adding somebody to your team, adding somebody to your staff. And by the way, you say, Paul, can I have my whole team join? Yes. If you say, Paul, listen, why not make it a group thing? Say, hey, can my whole team join the staff? Absolutely. I'll work with just you and your 3 or 4 leaders, and we'll talk about it together, right? That's option 1. And like I said, totally worth it. Okay. Links will be down in the description below as well, that if you want coaching, now's your time to go ahead and start getting it, because fall is here. School is starting. Don't go alone by yourself. Okay. Get somebody to come with you. Get a Sherpa that helps you carry the luggage a little bit. I'll help you do that. And I'll get you to the top of whatever mountain that God has helped you, put in front of you. This is, hey, I have you here. Let's go ahead and move forward. I will help you get there. That's option 1. Individual coaching for you, or you and 2 or 3 leaders that are on your team. We'll work together to do that. The other option is called My Monthly Mentor. And honestly, it's less expensive than the other coaching. The other coaching, you're getting my individual attention. This type of coaching can be done individually, but usually I leave 10 slots open for My Monthly Mentor. It's the cost of a streaming service. Once a month, 1 call a month. We get on there and we work through in it as community, depending whoever's there. I mean, if 5 people are there, great. If all 10 people show up, great. If 1 person shows up, great. But every month, you're going to get this check-in opportunity where you can talk about the things that are bothering you. You can talk about what's keeping you up at night. You can talk about the issues and problems you're dealing with. Some of you can't even talk to your pastor about it. Some of you can't talk to anybody about it because you're just alone out there in the world. Well, for the amount of money for a streaming service, it is 100% worth it to be in a community, whoever shows up in that group of 10 that I have, to say I have somebody that I can talk to who understands where I've been, where I'm at in my season of life, where I'm at in season of ministry. That's what it's about. And so I want to help come alongside of you and help you do that. So if you're interested in that, I am for you. I am with you. I want you to stay in it longer because I want you to reach more kids for Christ. I want you to build a successful ministry. But above all that, I want you to be happy. I want you to be healthy. I want you to feel like God loves you. God cares about you. And sometimes that gets shelved in lieu of the fact that we're chasing something. We're chasing some unicorn or some unrealistic expectation. That's what I'm here to help you work with, okay? So those are the two options there, is to work with, like I said, to either the individual, your youth ministry, your team of 2 or 3, be happy to work with you, or you're dealing with my monthly mentor here that you say, I want some of that for the cost of a monthly streaming service, then that's what I want to be able to offer you. But anyway, that is it, guys. That is it. That I'm back, like I said, from office hours. I'm going to start producing videos again. I enjoyed my time off. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, by the way, why aren't you subscribed? Get subscribed. Hit the notification bell down there because you're going to be able to know when I go live for office hours every week. For when I do other live events or things that I'm doing. And if you want to know when I go live, go ahead and click the bell icon down there. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, well, then just make sure you're just, my friend, and you'll see it and you'll go from there. But if you want to be on the YouTube channel, there'll be links for that as well on Facebook. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys being a part today. Appreciate you guys hanging out today, being a part of the show today, being part of office hours. But that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for being a part. I will catch you guys next week. If you want to join me for prayer, by the way, I do prayer at 8 a.m. You're welcome to join me for that. But also, like I said, office hours at 2. All right. That's it for today, guys. Appreciate you hanging out. Appreciate you being a part. And I will catch you guys in the next episode. Talk to you guys later, man. Have a great day, everybody. And have a great youth meeting tonight. Bye, everybody. Bye.